YouTube, what's going on, and welcome back to the channel. So today I thought to myself, like, a lot of people are wondering what guns to use. What are the LMGs? What are the ARs? What are the SMGs? What are your secondaries? What's your perk setup supposed to be? And I got you guys right now. I've been playing Warzone 2 for quite some time now. Locked in about 5 or 6 wins. Nothing crazy. And you guys have probably only saw like 2 or 3 on the channel so far. But I figured out a way to create classes more consistently, to cater towards like no recoil, max damage range, max bullet velocity, stuff like that, with the best scopes and stuff like that, and like having like the best secondaries as well, best SMGs without scopes. We're gonna cover that all in today's video. So if you guys could drop a like, let me know if I missed anything in this video. Let me know also your favorite loadout down in the comment section below. But without further ado, let's just jump straight into the first weapon, which is going to be the M4A1. Now, I do want to preface this video off with the perk package. They are going to be different if you are using overkill. Now, if you're not using overkill, you definitely 100% want to use Sentinel, because you get killed by explosions 24/7 in this game. I don't care. It's ridiculous. So battle hardened is a must. Bomb squad is a must. Cold-blooded overclock, it is what it is, but you definitely need those first 2 perks. That's why I use Sentinel. So going over the first setup, it's going to be the M4A1, and I'll go over the class setup for you guys right now. So I am using the 45 round magazine. You can go with the 60 round, but for the 45, that's just to add more mobility to the weapon. Using high velocity. Now this attachment right here, you want to use for all of your ARs and LMGs 100%. If you're not using it, you're missing out, okay? Don't worry about the damage range, because you can tune it to have max damage range and max bullet velocity. So you want to add that to your M4A1 using the Harbinger D20 to increase the sound suppression, bullet velocity, damage range, and recoil smoothness. Tuning to have max recoil smoothness and max bullet velocity. Going to the barrel, we're using the High Tower 20 barrel for bullet velocity, damage range, recoil control, hipfire accuracy, maximizing the recoil steadiness and damage range. And then some people like to use the VLK. Personally, I like to use the Schlager 3.4x because it you get a little bit more ADS boost compared to the 4x, and it's very similar. And I really like the irises. Now let's take a look at this in the firing range to see how it performs with the recoil. So as you guys can see, I'm not mounted. Very easy to manage the recoil right there. And it's a very smooth weapon. The ADS doesn't take forever. Now obviously if you mount it, okay, you can't. I don't think you can mount it. Oh, you can. It's a clean weapon. You guys definitely want to try this out for sure. So I'm gonna back out of that. That is the M4A1 class setup. Now I am gonna go over the secondary weapon alongside with the M4A1, and you can add this to all of your secondary weapons if you choose to. So this is gonna be the Snakeshots or the Basilisk secondary weapon. Going to the gunsmith, we're using the Akimbo. We're gonna use the Snakeshots. Using the Bryson HTA to maximize the fire rate, tuning to have max recoil smoothness and aiming idle stability. Now obviously those don't really matter as much because we're using it in Akimbo mode. Using the 10.5-inch F-Tech arrow barrel to increase the damage range, hip fire accuracy, movement speed, and bullet velocity, maximizing the recoil steadiness and damage range. Obviously the damage range is the only stat that matters right there. And then we're going to be using the Revo LSD 7mW laser to increase the hipfire accuracy. My bad, I accidentally had this on, but you definitely want to have this on for sure. Going to the second weapon is going to be the MP5. The MP5 is a nasty weapon. You guys need to add this into your inventory right now. Going over to the rear grip, using the Lackman TCG 10 grip to improve the recoil control, maximizing the ADS speed and sprint to fire speed. Obviously, you got to use the 40 round magazines as we're using this in Warzone. Using the Singard MKV muzzle. Muzzle for the sound suppression, bullet velocity, damage range, recoil smoothness, maximizing the ADS speed and bullet velocity, just to add that little bit of touch to the mobility side of things. The F-Tech M-Sub 12-inch to increase the bullet velocity, damage range, and stuff like that, maximizing the recoil steadiness and maximizing the damage range. And then the VLK LZR 7mW laser. Now some people don't like to use a laser. I use a laser personally because it increases the ADS speed and sprint to fire speed. There's a bunch of different types of lasers to improve the hip fire actually as well. I love lasers, so this is the one that I use. The MP5 is definitely one of those weapons you definitely want to add right now. Has no recoil at range. It's a very good weapon. You can tap people from long distance as well. It's a really good weapon, no recoil, very, very smooth weapon, and that is going to be the MP5 class setup. Going over to my personal favorite weapon, one of my personal favorite weapons as the LMG, it's going to be the RPK. This thing does not move. Before we get into the class setup, just take a look at this. I'm not going to mount. I'm not going to do any of this. Boom, boom, It hits from a far distance. You definitely want to add this into your inventory. Obviously, if you mount, this thing does not move at all. I mean, and you can mount a lot of things in Warzone. So using the Demo X2 grip to maximize the recoil steadiness and aiming idle stability. This is a Recoil Control Pro attachment. Obviously using the high velocity. You need the high velocity on all LMGs and ARs. The Polar Fire S to have that sound suppression, bullet velocity, max damage range, recoil smoothness. Maximizing the recoil smoothness and bullet velocity, using the TAC F9S7 barrel for the damage and stuff like that, increasing the recoil steadiness and damage range. And then I'm going to be using the Schlager 3.4X tuning to have far and flinch resistance on the tuning. So that is one of the best LMGs in my opinion. Keep that a secret. But we'll go over to the next weapon. It's going to be the M13. Now the M13, some people do not have the M13. Hey bro, you might need to unlock this because this thing does not move. We'll take it to a firing range really quick. The max fire rate, this thing does not move. That's just not right. The fire rate on this thing mixed with the no recoil build and the mobility, it's kind of nuts. So we'll go over the class. So if you guys have the M13B unlocked, definitely give this setup a try. So I'm using the Schlager 3.4X, the same tuning, goes for everything with that. The Bruin Echolon, maximize the damage range. Most of the pros are going to be very similar with this barrel, the first barrel, increasing the recoil status and damage range. The Harbinger D20, you guys already know what this does, and we're going to maximize the recoil smoothness and bullet velocity on that. Obviously, use the high velocity attachment right there, and I'm using the 60 round because we are playing Warzone. So that is going to be the M13B class setup. Going over to another LMG that is really, really dominant. It's going to be the RAAL MG. Takes to the firing range really quick. Most of these setups, like I say, most of these setups I'm going to give you, they have no recoil. They literally have no recoil. So it's all going to be preference. It's all going to be preference. So using the same optic, using the 26.5 Demo Field Pro barrel to increase the damage range, hip fire, accuracy, and bullet velocity, mainly the bullet velocity and damage range, maximizing the recoil steadiness and maximizing the damage range, using the Nil Sound 90 to do the sound suppression, bullet velocity, and damage range, increasing the bullet velocity and recoil smoothness, using the SA side grip, maximizing the recoil stabilization, aiming idle stability. What this does right here is it's just a beast of an attachment. Without this attachment, it's gonna jump a lot, and that's gonna be the RAAL MG class setup. This thing does not move. It can be classified as overpowered in Warzone. It's crazy. I already warned you guys that this gun right there is gonna be a problem in Warzone. The RAPP H. This gun is so underrated in Warzone. Like, it is so underrated. It's not even funny. I'll just show you guys the fire rate on this thing. Is just ridiculous. This thing is just an absolute monster when it comes to fire rate, damage, and no recoil. This reminds me of the Bruin. Look, yeah, I'm gonna give you guys the class setup. So I'm using the Romeo FT 16-inch barrel. Show you guys what the pros and cons of this. Since most of you guys, some of you guys probably don't have some of these attachments, you guys need to go to multiplayer and rank this up. This increases the damage range and bullet velocity, and we're gonna increase the recoil steadiness and damage range on this using the Polar Fire S muzzle, increasing the recoil smoothness and bullet velocity. Using the BO52 grip, I think you definitely need to rank this up in multiplayer because without this attachment, it might jump a little bit. Look how much of a bonus it gives you with the accuracy and recoil control stats. Tunings have max recoil steadiness or stabilization and max aiming idle stability. And then we're gonna be using the high velocity 7.62. Obviously you need this in all your LMGs and ARs, like I said, or like I mentioned. So as you guys can tell, I am level 177. We have some more time to play some Warzone and create some class setups that are gonna be completely dominant in Warzone 2.0. So I am gonna be using the EBR marksman rifle right here. Using the 20 round magazine as we need a higher magazine for this gun. Using the 7.62 high velocity tuning to have max damage range and max bullet velocity, using the Polar Fire S muzzle to have sound suppression, bullet velocity, damage range, and recoil smoothness. Tuning to have max recoil smoothness and max bullet velocity. Using the 22 Boremaster barrel for recoil control and bullet velocity. Tuning to have max recoil steadiness and max damage range. And then using this clean Corvus Sol 76 sight. Tuning to have max far sight and flinch resistance. Give this EBR setup a try 100%. It's one of the most dominant marksman rifle in the game. Going over my number one class right now, it's going to be the TAC 56 assault rifle. So I have the 60 round magazine. Don't even use the 40, use the 60. It's not going to matter. Use the 60 round magazine. Combine that with the 5.56 high velocity ammunition type, tuning to max bullet velocity, max damage range, using the Harbinger D20 barrel for sound suppression, bullet velocity, damage range, and recoil smoothness. Tuning to have max recoil smoothness and max bullet velocity. Using the 7.5 Tundra Pro barrel for damage range, hipfire accuracy, and bullet velocity. Tuning it to have max recoil steadiness and max damage range. Using the AIM OPV4, tuning to FR and max ADS speed right there. This is one of my favorite guns in the game. Let me just show you guys how much of a no recoil build this is right here. Boom, boom. Boom. This thing does not move. You definitely want to give that setup a try 100%. And lastly, it's going to be the X13 Auto Akimbo. I'm going to show you guys this dominant class for duos, solos, quads, trios. So we're going to be using the Akimbo, obviously, using the 50 round magazine. So we're going to be using the FT steel fire muzzle for sound suppression, bullet velocity, damage range, and recoil smoothness. Tuning to have max bullet velocity and recoil smoothness. Using the XRK Sidewinder 6 slide for recoil control, bullet velocity. Tuning it at max recoil steadiness and max damage range, and using the 1 milliwatt pistol laser for hipfire. Actually, this thing just dominant, bro. You know, but this thing is dominant up close. You definitely want to give this setup a try 100%. Hope you guys did enjoy this video. Let me know any class ups that I missed out maybe, and let me know your personal favorite class ups in the comment section below. But without further ado, if you guys could drop a like, hit that subscribe button down below with notifications on, and I'll see you guys in the next video.